New page and book collection is full of half-naked hockey players and heavily age-gap good girl affirmations, you might need to come up for some air, touch some grass.
So lighting isn't really on our side today, but that is okay because that is not going to stop us from delving into some TikTok crash out content that I've been finding out on the internet, one of which is going to involve BookTok. Side note, I'm not a member of this community. I absolutely love to read, but the problem is with me is that I don't read books often enough. I love reading once I'm reading, but it takes me so long to actually choose what I want to read that I end up abandoning books. Not the easiest person to get hooked onto a book because I feel like I'm very picky, although all the way around my room and around the corners of where I am right now, there are books littered. There are books everywhere. I'm not going to say if they're good books or bad books because, to be honest with you, reading is very subjective. With this bit of TikTok crash out drama, it got really, really bad. We had this creator called Call Me Chris who basically released this 40-minute long video where the original, before it got edited, you cannot find it anymore, and she edited the video so many times, changed the thumbnail so many times after she got called out on BookTok for basically saying that anyone who enjoys like smut kind of content, hardcore erotica, romance novels, anyone who reads that is disgusting and you're selling it to children, etc, etc.
In my humble opinion, anyone praising this book probably needs to schedule in some bi-weekly therapy appointments.
So we're going to get on to the backlash that has now occurred where Call Me Chris has had to basically take down the video because it's set as unlisted. Some pretty heavy backlash, but we also have a return of the queen crash out herself, Molly Russer. I'm going to get on to in just a minute and I will leave everything timestamped, so if you don't want to watch one bit you can skip to the other bit, but here we are. I just feel like having a TikTok crash out video every now and again just really cleanses my palette for, sometimes we cover a bit more serious topics over here and then other times we can talk about some TikTok drama that is circulating. It makes me feel like my palette is being cleansed a little bit. Hope you guys also feel the same.
Like, I get where you're coming from, but also, like, you don't seem to have grown at all in the time that you've been on TikTok. Like, you keep getting into these scenarios.
And speaking on palette cleansers and wanting to be able to really refresh your mind, I was reached out to, and this is a little while ago because I have in fact worked with them before. I was reached out to by a company who were asking me about if I wanted to try their mental performance shop. I've already said this before, but I was extremely dubious. I said, I will give it a go. If you send me some, I will give it a go, and I will only speak about them and I will only promote them if I feel like they actually do what they say on the tin. I've been using this for over a month now and I absolutely love them. I'm the kind of person that takes on way too much in my day-to-day life. I take on a lot of work. I do YouTube and then I also do things on the side, and I'm a very active individual. I love to run. I need to walk my dog. I've got a big dog. I need to be very energetic both physically and mentally. Also, I'm a mother too, right? I've experienced a lot of burnout in my time, and safe to say I do not ever want to venture back to that place because I've experienced burnout many times in my life and it is not a fun experience. Being aware and taking good care of your mental wealth is such an important thing to do. If you acknowledge it and you're able to recognize areas in which you can actually help your mental wealth, it means that whenever you start experiencing a crash out, or whenever things get really bad, you already have that mental wealth that is backed up to help you. Think of it like building a resilience for future challenges, and I really love to think of it like that. This can all be tied together with the 5 pillars. So you have sleep, you have diet, you have exercise, you have stress management, and you have exogenous compounds. So this is where our sponsor Magic Mind comes into play. Magic Mind works not by over-promising, but think of it as a tool to enhance your focus and sleep as a part of a bigger strategy. You can start using both shots for 24 hours of mental performance. So you have the sleep shot, which helps you get a better quality of sleep, and then you then have the performance enhancers meant to be able to utilize your energy during the day to make you more productive and to feel like you're really getting on top of things. So for instance, as I've already mentioned, I love to run. I'm also very, very, very heavy on my workload. I put a lot of work in, but I also love to exercise and I like being outside, and I find that I never really used to be able to do both. I was always compromising one area. Either I put everything into being as physically active and, you know, running around after the kids and running and doing this and that as I possibly could, but then I'd then sacrifice the amount of time and focus that I would then have to do my work. After a week of trying these shots, I found that I was way more productive, I was having a better quality of sleep, and just overall I felt more alive in myself. I found that I was able to stretch myself in all corners of what I wanted to do with my day, way better than what I could before. It's not just me saying it, I really do think that these serve a purpose in helping you focus more and get the kind of stuff you want to get done. There's a couple of things about Magic Mind that I absolutely love. So this is not a coffee replacement. You can have it alongside a cup of coffee. You can also have it in various forms. You can have it with oat milk, you can put it in a glass, you can put ice in it. I quite like the taste of it, so I just shot it. And with the Magic Mind Sleep, energy without sleep is the opposite of productive, but Magic Mind Sleep helps you fall asleep quicker and helps you fall asleep deeper, which if you do struggle with sleeping, that is an amazing thing. Doctor validated, and it took over 10 years to be able to be the product that it is now, which does make me feel really, really good. And it has 200 studies backing every single bit of ingredient that goes into this. There's no risk involved. They are so confident with what they've made that they will offer a 100% refund, no questions asked, for the first 100 days of purchase. Also shipped internationally to over 65 countries. And for the very first time, there is a bundle of the 24-hour package. That is the performance enhancer and the sleep shot, bundled up for the very first time at 45% off. Only exclusive through my link. I don't know if you already know this, but there is a January mental wealth challenge that is going on. Makes it the perfect time to start 2025, the year to start building up your mental resilience, where you can improve both your sleep and your awake clarity with Magic Mind, which then begs the question to really think about all those areas in your life that you feel like you can make a mental wealth investment. I know I definitely have a few, and I'm sure you do too. So definitely go and check out that offer. I will leave everything linked in my description box and also in my pinned comment. Thank you so much to Magic Mind for sponsoring today's video. Now let us just get on with what is going on with this TikTok crash out drama.
It's the condescending way in the intro that you say if your book collection is full of spicy, naughty, smutty books, then you need to come up for air and touch grass. You know, a little bit of spice, a little bit of smut is okay in your literature, but not too much, because otherwise you're not reading proper books.
As well as it being fairly dark and dingy around here, it's also absolutely freezing, so I have literally just gone and popped on a jacket, you know, economy and everything. I was actually going to start heating the place up just for a couple of hours. But what we're going to be talking about first, before we get onto the Molly Rutter crash out of it all, is the conversation that has been happening over on TikTok with BookTok.
I have just watched a massive creator who I have loved for a really long time absolutely rip into like everything I like to read, just with no actual comprehension of why it is people read spicy books, just coming in with some of the most girls takes on something I care so much about.
But this has been all over my FYP, and to summarize it, there is this creator called Call Me Chris. Now, Call Me Chris, as literally just looking at her, she has nearly 12 million subscribers, and her account is mostly made up of titles such as Children Who Murder, Real Life Miracles That Made Skeptics Believe, A True Horrific Catfish Story You Won't Believe, This Self-Sacrifice Cult Is Terrifying. Quite dark themes that are going on, but then in her description says subscribe for some subpar content and some laughs. And in many comments that she's trying to rebuttal, she says content is meant to make people laugh.
I thought it would make for a really fun, interesting, lighthearted video. It was not meant to be serious in the least. The original intention with the video was just to poke fun at the books, poke fun at myself, and also poke fun at just the genre in general, not thinking that it meant that much to people.
Call Me Chris made a video which had its title changed about 9 different times. Some of these titles were "Women on TikTok are obsessed with these smutty books," "TikTok's gross obsession with smutty books," "Children are reading smut books thanks to TikTok," "Viral smut book TikTok is getting disgusting." According to what a lot of BookTok are saying, Call Me Chris had 3 separate books, one of which was 50 Shades of Grey, which, as a lot are pointing out, is definitely not viral anymore. And then you had 2, one of which I think was the more extreme end of the scale. They are books which could be classified as smut. There are a lot of people like to read these types of novels, just like a lot of people love to watch things which also depict that kind of nature. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with it, although Call Me Chris seemed to think that there was a problem.
Became privy to the fact that there's an entire hockey smut masking as children's novel subgenre with unbearably unimaginable titles such as The Score, The Deal, Pucking Around, also Behind the Net, Jail. There's so many of these like smut books masking as kids books kind of thing. I don't understand.
Instead of her reviewing the books, I don't like the themes, I feel like that is a gross way of putting it, etc., etc., she came on and she said things like this.
In my humble opinion, anyone praising this book probably needs to schedule in some bi-weekly therapy appointments.
Even going as far as to say an author should go to jail, as in this clip.
And also, behind the net, jail. Go to jail.
Really angered BookTok for a variety of different reasonings, one of which was that people were finding that, you were taking away women empowerment, you were taking away something that a lot of women enjoy reading. It's not seen as gross if a man wants to watch or read that kind of material, but when women like it, it's shunned upon.
Use words like desensitize, addiction, rotting your brain to describe somebody that, in your opinion, would consume too many smutty books.
Another point was the fact that you need to breathe some air, touch some grass if you like this kind of content, i.e. women and some men are disgusting for liking these types of books rather than the actual source material not being her cup of tea. Because like I say, these kind of books, millions of people like it. There's an audience for everything, okay?
And for anyone interested, romance as a literary genre is a literal safe space. That's why women like it. Spice, no spice, romance is really, really important.
Point that people had a massive issue with, Chris was saying that it's targeting children. Goes on and she talks about the art cover on the front, how the title and the art cover could be appealing to a younger audience, and BookTok are rebuttaling that by saying, well, it very clearly says, it's not for children and you will not find it in the children's section.
Title number 3, so I'll post a picture up here of what it used to be, talking about children reading smut thanks to TikTok. Girl, what the children are not reading smut thanks to TikTok. Their parents are not watching them and making sure their kids are not reading smut. And then you try to put out some bullshit ass apology. I'm sorry if you were offended. Yes, we're offended. We're offended, and now we're on your top, because why the fuck would you even decide to put that out into the world that we're trying to get kids to read smut? The fuck is wrong with you?
If it were to be shown in a library and it had raunchy material illustrated on the cover, surely that is worse for children to see, rather than it having a fairly, average looking cover, an almost romantically average looking cover. And when I say BookTok are mad, BookTok are extremely mad about it. They're mad that come along with her very large following and she's used a series of creators who didn't give permission, wanted to be acknowledged in the video, and at no point were they acknowledged, but they were put down, called gross and disgusting for liking this kind of material.
I've seen more hatred and vitriol spewed at the BookTok community in the last couple of days than I have in my life. And that's all because of Call Me Chris. She verbally attacked an entire community, calling them weird and gross and telling them they need to touch grass and go to therapy. And then she was shocked that she got backlash for it.
Anyway, people were so angry at her that she was forced to not only edit out parts of that video, which basically make it a relic to what it once was. She's also put it as unlisted so that you can't naturally find it. You'd have to go to her TikTok, copy and paste the URL, which I literally cannot do on my computer. But by this point, the damage on BookTok was already done. And she then came out with this apology video detailing how she didn't realize that it could be deemed as offensive. She will not be doing reviews or commentary type videos on her channel anymore.
reviews of books that I saw on BookTok, specifically more in the spicy category, in what some would categorize as smut. The first couple days it was posted, a lot of people loved the video and it got really positive reviews, but then I guess it made its way to BookTok and the people from BookTok came to the video and they did not feel the same. In reading the comments, I'm realizing that I just got the tip of the iceberg. I did not know how deep BookTok went, and that is on me. I did not do the proper research. I missed the mark. I tried to make jokes here and there, and some people liked them, but a lot of people didn't like them. I'm very lucky to have an audience that is so incredibly positive, which I'm very thankful for. So I'm not used to getting a mass amount of hate or criticism. So when I see those comments in mass, I panicked. I did a very human thing, a very flawed human thing, and I went fully into defense mode and was just trying to reassure people that I meant no shame or judgment and that I thought that would help. But in doing so, it was just completely unproductive when I should have just taken a step back and just realized why people were saying the things that they were saying. And it wasn't meant as hate towards me necessarily, at least the valid criticism. I just want to take that video and take your valid criticism and just apply it to my other videos. And I want to keep improving my content, and I never, ever want to upset anyone. And I hope that everyone knows that. This isn't me just with my back against the wall. I really do care about not upsetting people. Like, I don't know if it's best to just let this be or to talk about it, and I think talking about it is best, and just letting you know that I think you could read whatever you want, and I think that's awesome. And if it helps you, that's awesome, and if it's not for you, that's totally fine too. I still hold my opinions about the books themselves. They're not really for me. Some of them were actually pretty good, but the content, the extreme taboo, is just not for me, and I didn't realize how incredibly popular it was. I thought it was way more niche. Making jokes about the community that enjoys those books, even if it's not meant to harm or shame or judge anyone, it is productive, and I'm just not gonna do that anymore. I don't think the review category or commentating category is probably for me.
I will say is that as I was going along the FYP, this is not the only time that she has faced backlash. It's not to pile on her. I'm literally pointing out something that within the next flick was already there.
Disgusting.
My Chris reviewed on my TikToks. Let's check out what she had to say.
Cloth pad? Is there a cloth pad for a period pad?
Yep, washable cloth pads.
Isn't that just like using a handkerchief? Like you just...
You essentially have the gist of it. You do kind of just out of your
vagine.
Rather than it being like a dirty old rag or handkerchief, they're really cool, sophisticated cloth pads now.
And then you just take it back out and you just...
So we've got it a little bit wrong. You're not just going to take it out and reuse it again. You're going to wash it first to make sure it's good and clean.
You know what I mean? That's disgusting.
Modern cloth pads are way more sophisticated than what you're thinking. So
not every woman's menstrual cycle looks the same. Some people like a cup, some people like a tampon, some people like a sanitary pad, some people like to free bleed. I don't really know. Everyone does things differently. And once again, this was a creator being targeted, being shamed for wanting to do a specific thing. And that was under the guise of reviewing and commentary. Not liking the particular thing without upsetting the person or the group of people that do that kind of thing. Does this make any sense? There's definitely a way of doing it. I mean to say that, oh, we are the snowflakes of the generations and we should all be mindful, talking about personal things such as the type of books, the romance books, the smut books, the whoever, whatever books, and also women's right to use whatever menstruation product they see fit. That kind of thing will come with a lot of backlash if you're applying words like gross, disgusting, touch some grass. I just want to add as well that the video that she did, she's sponsored by Grammarly. And if you're not aware of how sponsorships work, I've got a sponsorship on this video right here. Basically, that video that she posted probably would have been unlisted for about a week, making sure the brands like it, she likes it, it's all good. The irony is not lost on me that it was a sponsorship for Grammarly. However, you put out that video, you put out the video with the company who are sponsoring it, and They might have a set view goal, they might have this and that, sign a lot of contracts often. They want that video to be up for a certain length of time. So for her to make it unlisted, which is essentially pulling the video down, I've had to have a lot of very awkward conversations with Grammarly about that, and probably have to do a do-good video where they'll want her to do another one if she still signed that contract. That's just what I'm understanding. So that would have been a whole entire hoo-ha for her and for Grammarly to try and take that down.
Have no clue what you're talking about. You have not taken the time to read these books, because if you did, you would know what they were about. And honestly, all the books that she has featured behind her, I'm convinced she's never read, and they're literally just props.
I don't know. What do you think? Do you think BookTok were being a bit precious? Do you think Call Me Chris was in the wrong? Do you think they're both equally in the wrong for how they're reacting to certain things? Please let me know down in the comments.
And I was just on the phone with my therapist, and he told me that it's okay if I ask for help.
And for the second part of this absolute crash out TikTok train wreck, we have Molly Rutter. Now, Molly Rutter, there is a special place in my heart for talking about this woman. And if TikTok gets banned, I will be very upset, because you know what? I quite enjoy watching certain creators, and Molly Rutter is just one where she always appears on my feed. If I see a video from her, I need to watch it because I need to know what's going on in her life. She reminds me of Amberlynn Reid and Foodie Beauty combined. She is a bit of a crash out, a bit of a lol cow, if you were. A lot of people have clocked onto her by now, but she's very entertaining to watch, albeit a little bit frustrating. She got very, very popular with doing her dating series, and then from then on, she does a lot of things to try and antagonize her audience, and her views have gone down stupendously, which is very unfortunate for her. She quit her full-time teaching job to pursue a career in TikTok. Of course, TikTok might be banned. Her views have dropped significantly, and you know, I'd be worried about where I'm going to go. She's tried going onto YouTube, but her YouTube hasn't even reached 1,000 subscribers, which would equate to her being monetized as long as she got 4,000 watch hours. Now, the problem that we've had lately is that she had a big crash out over the election results, as a lot of people do. And then from then on, she's not wanted to do any dating content. She's not wanted to really upload much at all.
Been posting way less than normal ever since Trump got elected, because I'm just freaking out all the time. I'm like really trying to cope with my own anxiety.
And this anxiety has stopped her from uploading. And it was only a couple of days ago she came on and she started lecturing everyone about being nice, and about how she doesn't take criticism very well, which ultimately is going to be a downfall for her. She's like, you know, I can't help but read the comments. I don't know how people just ignore bad comments.
Ignore the hate and the criticism, or they can respond back with something that's like really well worded and kind, but that's not me. I've always been a reactive person. That's who I am.
It's very easy. I mean, I would tell her this, but she blocked me ages ago. I can't tell her. In fact, the only way I can communicate with this woman is via Reddit, and she don't even know it's me. All right. I would say to her, Molly, if you're listening, just don't read the comments that much. Just don't read them that much. I'm very blessed. I have very lovely comments, but then 10% of the time I'll get some right mean ones about my appearance. And do you know what I do? I then just go, right, that's enough YouTube for today. I'm not reading any more comments, because you can't do that to your mental psyche. I will say she sometimes does invite it in on herself a little bit by antagonizing her audience, but that is just another talk for a different day. She comes on, tail between her legs, yesterday evening and starts crying. She starts crying because she hasn't received her TikTok payment and it's 2 days late. She comes on and she basically says that she needs money.
I'm kind of crashing out right now. And I was just on the phone with my therapist, and he told me that it's okay if I ask for help. So, here's me shamelessly asking for help. I've done this before online, and I'm doing it again. Even if you can't help me monetarily, if you want to share this video, because I'm curious if other creators have also not received this week's pay. I just love this community that I've built, and so even just like a kind message would mean the world to me.
Now, asking for money online is an extremely sensitive topic, and people were absolutely furious, to the point where she was doing a live And there are so many clips. Go to the Reddit thread. You can watch loads of them. I'll show a little bit of it right now. But she sat there on live debating with people about why it's okay if she gets money. And people were saying, no, it's not. You're asking for money. You should have really thought about this. Are you going to give this money back? We've given you money before, but then you didn't do as you said. You were going to be giving money back in a certain type of way and you never did.
So Molly, do you plan on refunding back these people if your paycheck hits tomorrow, if it hits on Tuesday? I just don't understand how you're begging people for money only 2 days after it didn't hit. I just don't understand how you can feel comfortable as a person, like in this economy, doing that.
I don't feel comfortable doing it.
So why are you doing it? I don't, like, there is no, your therapist is the only person that is saying that's okay, and a few people online.
It's not just a few people online saying
It is.
that.
I've been reading. You only can think like 3 people every 20 minutes for their support. You ignore the comments that actually criticize you.
Okay. I mean, it's okay if you disagree with me on it.
Okay,
That's fine.
so then what are you going to do when the ban happens? You move to YouTube. You don't get paid if you have under 1,000 subscribers. You know that, right? You don't have 1,000.
I am aware of that, yes.
Yeah, so why are you acting like this is some big new job for you? You're saying you're going to do what everyone else does. Figure it out. You're not. You're just moving to an app to post things. I can post things on YouTube too. It's not my job.
Why does this bother you so much?
Because you're online begging people for money. Like, that's crazy in this economy.
Where did I beg?
In your actual TikTok video, you cried about it.
I am crying about the fact that my paycheck's late. That's very upsetting to me, along with all the other things that have happened to me this week.
To the point of where you put ways to pay you money. What do you do for us? Why should we pay you? You give us Canva videos that I could find on YouTube, girl.
You don't have to pay me.
That, but people were asking her, what are you going to do? Where are you going to go to next? And she said YouTube. And the problem with YouTube is that you don't start, it's very hard to grow on YouTube. Once again, Molly, I would love to tell you this, and I'm not even a YouTube conglomerate or whatever they're called. I'm not even that. I've got nearly 50k subscribers, but I've been doing this for about 3 years, and I can honestly tell you, for the very first year and a half, 2 years, I might have been doing this for 4 years now. I'm just saying, for the very first 2 years, you don't earn anything, and when you start earning, it's like 60 quid and and it grows. Not going to be able to do it. She has to think of something to do, and we've been saying this for a little while, but she will not listen. She was being called out left, right, and centre, and some people were actually being a little bit mean. I won't lie, like, we need to tone it down a little bit. I understand that people are upset, but you don't have to pay her if you don't want to. So what ended up happening was that people were saying, you know, you're begging for money, and she said, I'm not begging for money. And they said, yeah, you are begging for money. Remember the TikTok right here? You were begging for money. She goes, no, I wasn't begging. It was literally a roundabout circle. And then people then started dragging her dogs into it. I think there was this whole thing with her when she left Turkey. She had to like leave her dogs behind because she couldn't afford the transfer fee with the jabs and all of that, and she then had to ask her TikTokers to help her out with that, and she promised she would give back, but she never gave back. One of those kind of deals.
Had to beg for money because of your lack of planning. Like, we all remember the turkey incident where you said that you were going to
pause.
When you said that you were going to have a giveaway for people who donated to you. But then you didn't.
You're not coming in here and talking about that, saying that it was me not planning. Oh, no. There's no way you are coming up in my live and saying my dog situation was because of a lack of planning. Ain't no way. No way you are saying that to me. Because that situation had everything to do with laws and regulations in that country and had zero to do with my lack of planning.
I get where you're coming from, but also, like, you don't seem to have grown at all in the time that you've been on TikTok. Like, you keep getting into these scenarios where
people were ripping into her, and I do feel bad for her because she's the kind of person that, like she says, will not take criticism, does not handle it very well. She's very stubborn. Not my word. She's literally said all of this. She won't listen to anyone. She won't handle criticism. She won't, if you know. So the problem is with it is that you can tell that she is going to be in some deep shit unless she works things out, because even at this rate, her views have dropped significantly on TikTok, and her YouTube is not at monetization yet. So she's got to think of something to do, but she won't listen. And if she had been, you know, earning enough money, she would have had some sort of saving, so that even if she wasn't paid in the 2 days, she'd have, you know, at least 100 or 200 quid to pull out of her savings. Of course, anyone with like a normal job doesn't have that luxury, but the problem is that she quit her full-time teaching job to become a TikToker, and now that's not going very well. She is point blank refusing to do anything else. Internet is what she wants to do, and that would be fine, but then don't beg people for money. Anyway, I could drone on and on about these TikTok crash outs all day, but I'm gonna leave it right here because this video is gonna get so long. But if you would absolutely love to try out the 24-hour bundle from Magic Mind, if you want to have peak performance during the day and you want to have a restful night's sleep and you want to get 45% off of this bundle, please click the links in my description box or my pinned comment for 45% off of your Magic Mind bundle. Definitely go check that one out. I'm going to start editing, I'm going to go eat some food, but I hope you guys have a wonderful day wherever you are in this world. Take care of each other, take care of yourselves, and I will catch up with you guys in the next video.